It's Saturday morning. The coffee in your hand has already gone cold, but you haven't moved. Your phone is still open. Same screen, same number, same quiet tension sitting in your chest. Because the truth is, you're not broke, but somehow you're not safe either. You did what you were supposed to do. You worked, you saved a little, you avoided major mistakes. And yet, there's this uncomfortable feeling you can't shake, like you're behind in a race no one explained to you. And that's exactly where Dave is right now. He's 45, standing in his kitchen, dishwasher humming in the background, his daughter laughing in the other room. Life is happening, but his mind is stuck on one question he doesn't want to say out loud. Am I actually doing okay? Or am I quietly falling apart financially? Because just a few minutes ago, Dave saw a number, a headline, the kind that hits you harder the longer you stare at it. It said the average person his age is worth nearly $1 million. And ever since he read that, everything feels off. His savings suddenly feel small. His progress feels slow. His entire financial life feels like it's not enough. And here's the dangerous part. He doesn't know if the problem is him or the number itself. So let's clear that up right now, because this is where most people start doubting themselves for no reason. That number, it's not just misleading, it's built in a way that was never meant to help you understand your reality. The word average sounds fair, it sounds neutral, but in finance, it quietly distorts everything. Because when you average wealth, you mix billionaires with everyday people and pretend that result represents both. It doesn't. Not even close. The real number you should be looking at is something most headlines avoid. It's called the median. Not the highest, not the lowest, just the person standing in the middle. And when you look at that number, everything changes. The median net worth for someone around 45 isn't anywhere near $1 million. It's closer to a quarter of that, around $247,000. And suddenly, the story feels different. You didn't fall behind. You were comparing yourself to a completely unrealistic benchmark. By the way, I'm Gigi, and I break down money the way it actually works, not the way it's packaged to get clicks. Because numbers without context don't just confuse people. They quietly destroy confidence. And if you've ever looked at your finances and felt like you're not where you should be, there's a good chance you were looking at the wrong scoreboard this entire time. Now, here's where this gets personal. I want you to do something most people avoid. Not later, not someday, right now, mentally, if not physically. Add up everything you own, your savings, your investments, your home value if you have one. Then subtract everything you owe. Credit cards, loans, mortgage, all of it. And whatever number you get, just sit with it for a second. Because if your chest tightened a little while doing that, that's not weakness. That's awareness kicking in. And awareness is where control starts. But here's the twist most people don't see coming. That number you just calculated, it might look okay on paper. It might even sound decent when you say it out loud. But the real question is, how much of it can you actually use? Because for most people in their 40s, the majority of their net worth isn't sitting in cash or investments. It's locked inside their house. And that creates one of the biggest financial illusions of modern life. On paper, you might be worth $250,000, but in your actual bank account, maybe a few thousand. And when real life hits, groceries, gas, emergencies, that net worth doesn't show up. Most of your wealth is technically yours, but practically unreachable. You can't swipe home equity at a checkout counter. You can't use it to cover a sudden expense without creating more debt. And that's the moment people start realizing their financial stability isn't as solid as it looked. And then comes the part that really stings: retirement. Because this is where expectations and reality completely disconnect. The financial world has a benchmark. By your late 40s or early 50s, you're supposed to have multiple times your annual income saved. Sounds reasonable. Until you look at what people actually have. The reality? Most people aren't even close. Not a little behind. Not slightly off track. They're operating in an entirely different reality than the one those benchmarks were designed for. And this isn't about laziness or bad decisions. It's about timing. It's about a system that changed while people were living inside it. Wages didn't keep up. Costs exploded. Opportunities came at the wrong time. And slowly, without anyone announcing it, the gap widened. You see it in everyday life, not spreadsheets. End of the month. You check your account. There's barely anything left. Maybe $20, maybe less. And payday is still days away. That's not a math issue. That's pressure. Constant, invisible pressure. Because money isn't just something you manage, it's something that's already been claimed before you even touch it. Bills, debt, responsibilities, they don't wait. And for people in their 40s, there's an added weight most younger people don't fully understand yet. You're not just supporting yourself anymore. You're supporting a life above you and a life below you at the same time. Parents getting older, kids still needing support, sometimes even adult children finding their way back home. It's not mismanagement, it's reality. And that's why so many people feel stuck, not because they're careless, but because they're carrying more than one financial life at once. They're not behind, they're overloaded. And in the middle of all this, there's one quiet belief that keeps people from taking action. A belief that sounds comforting, but is incredibly dangerous. The idea that somehow, eventually, something will come through. Maybe inheritance, maybe a financial break, maybe relief down the line. But the truth is, that safety net most people imagine often doesn't exist in the way they expect. And even when it does, it's usually much smaller than they hoped. So here's the moment where everything shifts. Not with fear, but with clarity. Because despite all of this, despite the pressure, the delays, the mistiming, there's still something incredibly valuable left. Time. Not unlimited time, not easy time, but enough. Enough to change direction. Enough to build something meaningful. Enough to create a different outcome. And the biggest mistake people make at this stage isn't failing to act. It's deciding it's too late to try. It's not too late, but it is later than you think. And that difference matters. Because small decisions now carry more weight than they ever did before. Increasing a contribution, automating a monthly investment, cutting one unnecessary expense that quietly drains your future. These aren't dramatic moves. They're not exciting, but they're powerful. Because consistency over the next 15 to 20 years compounds into something most people underestimate. Not overnight success, not instant freedom, but stability, control, options. And that's what most people are actually chasing. Not luxury, but relief. Not millions, but peace of mind. So now the question changes. It's no longer, am I behind? It becomes something much more important. What happens if I don't change anything? Because the path you're on right now, it has a destination. Whether you think about it or not. Whether you plan for it or not. And there are only two versions of that future waiting for you. One where nothing changes. Same habits, same patterns, same quiet stress, just stretched over more years. And another version where small, intentional decisions start stacking in your favor. Slowly at first, almost invisible, until one day, they're not. And that's the part most people miss. The number you have today, it doesn't define you. It doesn't lock you in. It doesn't decide your future. The next decision you make does. Because this moment, right here, is where people either drift or take control. And if you've made it this far, you already know which direction you're leaning. The only thing left now is to act on it.